Darren, I'll let you start just because I know that you have a lot of people here, and we've been good friends for a long time, doing the same thing. It's great that we're able to do this, and I'm excited
Yeah,
to work with you on this one. Like we've been, gosh, we've known each other for over 5 years now, I think.
over it's 7 or 8 years now. Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you say that we haven't done it yet, and thank you for letting me at least say something.
Of
Everyone knows I
course.
like to talk. That might be a mistake, but I really appreciate everyone that I've invited to get on here. As I've told everybody, Chris has been one of my mentors ever since I met him. And even though Marco and I are partners, Marco's also been a mentor of various forms throughout my investing multifamily career. And what I love about this opportunity is these guys have been doing it for a long time. They have over 1,000 units in Kansas City where this particular opportunity is. They self-manage. They've been through ups and the downs, but what you're going to get from this group is integrity, processes and systems that are second to none, communication, and you're gonna make a return. I can promise you that. So um, I'm just thrilled. I can't say enough. I don't want to get off on a bunch of stuff I could go into, but big time, high level human beings for the people that you don't know, Chris, Lauren, Marco, Ramo, others. So um, just know that I'm ecstatic about this opportunity and the fact that you guys chose to join tonight.
Yep. Just by a show of hands, some people don't have their video on, but it's okay. Darren mentioned that that everybody has received the executive summary. Uh, People have invested in multifamily before. Is there anybody here that like that they don't know what multifamily investing is and is like this is the first time they're hearing certain terms? Because I want to adjust certain messaging to certain people, and I'll blast through some pieces. I don't want to bore you guys with certain aspects of a presentation, but I do think it is good to get to know us a little bit better. But by a show of hands, if anybody's just like, I have never heard of multifamily investing before, raise your hand. Cool. Nobody raised their hand. Okay, we can begin. Uh, Lauren, if you want to share the screen, we can go through. We had a webinar. I think some of you may have seen this. If you haven't, it's okay. I won't go through every single thing super fast, super slow here so that you're bored. I'll keep it interesting. Like Darren, I do like to talk. I talk a blue streak. I love this stuff. We are Sharpline. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate you, being connected to Darren, or if you're connected to others here, like Christina as well. These are great investors, great operators. This is awesome to work on a project like this too. It's I want to say straight down the fairway, cash flowing with appreciation deal in a great market with a great team with a great story. So it's a good one. We can go to the next slide. So there's two properties. They're about half a mile apart each, 40 units and 40 units. The vintage on these, the build date is amazing. That's what we're excited about. One of the things I want to touch upon is we've bought our 1960s and 1970s and 1980s, but we have started to lean more towards the late 90s to 2000 and newer because buildings are getting older. So when you can go grab an opportunity like this for newer builds, uh, it's just better for us. It's less that the properties need. They're less hungry on their maintenance issues and more predictable, if you will. Sometimes the 1970s buildings, you got to get them at a really good price and you got to know how to put the capital expenditures in, or they're just going to claw at you and need a lot of money from it. These are more predictable, if you will. And we're getting these at fantastic prices. Go ahead to the next slide. All right, just a little bit of who we are. We've been doing this for about 10 years. My partner and I, Krista Testani, who's not on tonight, but if you want to meet her, she certainly will get on the horn with you. We've been partners for 10 years. We've done over 1,700 unit transactions, nine full cycle exits, purchase, refinance, sell. We have great debt relationships, great capital access. some of the best debt around that we can get. It's just we have a lot of options, raised a lot of money. We've been, it's basically to showcase we've been doing this for a while. We're not newbies at this, like Darren said, but I think it's good to show. Go ahead, Lauren. So I know you read the executive summary, but I do want to hit upon why we like it. Uh, LIHTC burn-off, low-income housing tax credit burn-off, is one of the most sought after assets to grab because it had low-income housing tax credits on it, and they are built to like certain higher standards. They have great unit mix too, but sometimes you don't want to buy them when they have the LIHTC rules still in place. It means you're restricted on income. There tends to be a super high percentage of, or all percentage of housing vouchers. Sometimes that's certain people's appetite, but you end up getting into a lot of inspection issues. And yes, it's guaranteed payments and things like that, but you can get into some headaches. So when the LIHTC burns off from its land use restriction agreement, the LURA burns off. If you can get it when it burned off, you now have freedom to move those units to market, which is usually over market, meaning the rent from where you're restricted is lower, and now the market can command a lot more. And the units are in usually decent condition. I know that there's a negative connotation to Section 8 and things like that, and sometimes it's warranted. But for the most part, the units are in great shape, so you're not dealing with a big mess. This is LIHTC burn off. It burned off. We're not restricted, and out of 80 units, there's only 8 that have housing vouchers. Uh,
Yeah,
this
Chris,
this area,
that's important because somebody got nervous and they
yep,
thought like somebody's like, oh, is it all? No, it's not. It's only 8 units. That's all it is.
because it had burned off a bit ago, and the current owner started to cycle through some of the renewals to get more market rate residents. Some of them stayed, had housing vouchers, but don't need them anymore. So they are verified with their income. They don't need the housing vouchers anymore. So it's a good scenario for us. Go ahead, Lauren. So what I also like about this property is that it has a unit mix that's pretty favorable for the investment. 2 beds and 3 beds. They command higher rent. The residents tend to stay longer as well because there's more family orientation. There could be kids. Uh, it's got washer and dryer hookups. They're all classics like that, like you see in the picture here. I can tell you that we have another property that we purchased 3 months ago. Now it's actually close to 4. Yeah, right in December. Uh, it's in Spring Hill, about 15 minutes north. And that's a great bellwether property, if you will. It's going to be a part of this trio that we manage with our team. So it allows us to save costs and also have a lot of our staff that can move across. That gives us an advantage. But it also gives us an opportunity to peer into how this property will perform. We have had it for close to 4 months now, and I can tell you that it's blowing past pro forma. The expenses are lower than we've thought. The occupancy is where we want it. We're getting the renewals at a rate we never thought we could get. 9% on renewal average is basically what we're doing on all renewals without putting a dollar in. So that allows us to have a lot of freedom with our rehab money that's in reserves to decide when to go put the money into making these like a bit nicer with, we like to call it classics with a pop, if you will. Better countertops, maybe go with a white cabinet and better appliance package possibly if the appliances are kind of on their way out, and then we can pop rents even further than that. But to spend no money and get 9% on renewal with such high occupancy is where we want to be so that we can cash flow nicely and predictably for the future. We're walking into this 97% occupied. It's fantastic and safe. Uh, Average rent walking in is 980, and it looks like we're going to get about that 9% renewal increase without spending a dollar. We believe we can get the average rent across the 2 unit and the 3 unit bedrooms to about 1250 in year 3. The only real big CapEx that we have to do, but we've planned for it in the rehab money, is we do have to get one of the properties a new roof. But because Sharpline's pretty active in Kansas City, obviously, with 1,000 units, we have a bit more weight we can throw around with getting good prices for roofs. There's a capital allowance of 700,000, which includes part of that roof in there, and then interior turns too. Go ahead, Lauren.
One thing I'd like to add on here, and
Sure.
I didn't introduce myself. My name is Lauren Zeminski. I'm the investor relations manager for Sharpline. I was a limited partner investor for years before I joined the team this past summer. So I obviously feel strongly, having been on the LP side of this company, I feel really strongly and strong enough to join the group. But one thing I wanted to mention on this, the purchase price, I think there's something really phenomenal about buying something for $92,000 a door. Because what that means is, okay, let's say the whole property burned to the ground and you had to rebuild it. It would cost you $180,000 a door.
Yes.
So you're buying at less than replacement costs. So you're essentially getting the land for free. And anytime that you can buy a property and essentially all the value is in the components, meaning is in the structure, and you're effectively getting the land for free, it's a fantastic opportunity. So I just want to point that out because it's really great.
And in comparison, Spring Hill was a 1980s built, 15 minutes north, and we paid 110 a door. So we were able to get it slightly south, 15 minutes. So that was we were able to negotiate a better price. This is also because we purchased another property after Spring Hill in DeSoto, Kansas, from this seller, and we had a great transaction with them. And they said, "Would you like to take a look at this 80 unit?" Because the transaction went so well. So we got first look. We negotiated on price for about a month, and they didn't want to go to market because they just didn't want to deal with other flaky buyers out there. So we were able to stick to our guns and get the price we want. And this is a fantastic buy. Go ahead, Lauren. But yeah, essentially half off replacement cost is pretty phenomenal for essentially a 25-year-old building. So we mentioned the discount we're getting, the burn off, the debt we've already secured. It's locked, 5.99%, 65 LTV approximately, fixed interest only for 3 years. It's a 7-year loan. And that means that we are not forced to do anything that we don't want to do, not in our time frame. A lot of times when you have a bridge loan or something like that, if the timing of the market is not favorable to you, you get a forced hand. You have to do something with it, either forced refi, forced sale, forced capital injection, possibly, or like I just said, for a sale, like maybe you have to sell for a price you didn't really want to sell for. Having fixed rate debt, agency debt that we have great relationship with Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. This is a Freddie. We were a little called lock on application. So we timed the market a bit if you can, as best you can. We locked in at 5.99. It's pretty phenomenal these days. And I'm going to get a little wonky, but we're not doing yield maintenance either, where you're locked in and that prohibits you from selling sometimes. It's not yield maintenance. There is a step down prepayment penalty. As I'm giving this for some of the people that maybe know a little bit more of the wonky details, Darren, but like it's just a step down. Fantastic loan.
So in 2022, 23, 20, like 23 and 24, where people messed up was not getting the right loan on these properties, not getting the fixed debt that we have. Like he said, 7 years, we're not in a rush where we don't have to do anything. We can sit and look at the market and put the plan in place comfortably.
Also speaks to the strength of that you have with the lenders.
Yes.
Big time.
Well,
Yeah,
and two
go ahead.
separate loans, right? So
That is true. That's a plus of this property. We set this up so that because you have the two separate properties, we're gonna have a holding company that owns both of the properties and two separate loans. The two separate loans allowed us to get a higher LTV because there are incentives by Freddie that under 50 units, there's an extra incentive to get lower rates. They want to incentivize like essentially the little guy, if you will, for lower than 50 units. And we took advantage of that with 80 units, but separating them out. And the beauty of that too is it gives us a lot of options too, to not have to be forced sale on a package if we want. Now we may do that in the future if we feel the buyers are saying, hey, we want 80, we would do that. But it allows us to, in the future, if we saw somebody came along and said, we want that 140 unit and we're going to pay a price that you can't say no to, we have that flexibility. Like we didn't paint ourselves into a corner like a lot of sponsors do. Go ahead, Lauren. Thank you. So this is the property cash flows right away. And we are going to send out distributions within the first 3 to 5 months, and then they will begin monthly. We usually wait 3 months at first just to make sure that what we bought is basically what we think it is, so that we're careful with things. But then the monthly distributions will begin. If it's anything like Spring Hill, we would feel really confident at month 3 starting to distribute. If we wait until month 5, don't get nervous, but it is about 3 to 5 that we usually start our monthly. That's what cash on cash is. That's the yearly distribution on basically it's a 7.5 cash on cash. That's your distributions for the year, like a 7%, 7.5 in this case average. So if you had $100,000, it would be approximately 7,000 plus for the year. In this case, 7,500
So that's
average.
well, like 680 a month or something. Let me just give exact. Just
Yep.
100,000. We'll do 7.5% divided by like 625, I think.
Sounds about right for 7.5. IRR, if you want to think about it, for those that are
Yeah,
sophisticated or not.
625 a month.
When we sell, we believe that which is approximately a 5-year hold. It would be a 15% annualized return. Essentially, on 100,000, it would be 15,000 times 5 is the total return. An equity multiple of essentially within a 5-year period ish. It is an equity multiple of approximately 2. You double your money. You get your 100,000 back plus 100. It may be at year 6. It's possible to get there. It could be at year 4. If it comes along that year 4, we get offers that we can't refuse. We are a fiduciary of yours and our capital, and we would take advantage of that. Darren, you've exited properties sooner than you've thought at certain points, just because the market tells you you have to say yes, um, and you take it. If the property is doing what we thought it's going to do, and it's a super strong property, and it's cash flowing, and we think that a year or 2 later is a better time to sell, we would wait.
So for the people who are like on here, just like new to multifamily, a standard true kind of deal, syndication, usually a good hold is the syndicators will say like a 5 to 7 year hold. When you see people exiting 2 years and trying to pull 2x multiples and stuff like that, that's in a weird market cycle of like 2021. So your 5 to 7 year hold is what usually the syndicators will tell you. But like Chris said, could sell in year 3. Somebody comes along and the market starts to go up where I see 26, 27, 28 getting better with the rates coming down, and 23, 24, and 25 was so it depends on the market, but yeah, you're always looking at your 3, 5, 7, something like that.
And something to know too about Sharpline is we do communicate monthly with investors. We issue monthly newsletters, quarterly financials, and then twice a year we do live webinars. So if you were to invest, I would actually be your point of contact, and any questions you had during the hold period, you'd be welcome to. You can reach out to any of us, of course, but it is my job to be there for investors quickly. So if there's any questions about hold times, I would be here during that period to help you.
We are also doing what's called cost segregation on this and taking bonus depreciation. There's a lot of heavy talk right now. It is speculation. I do want to say that, but there is heavy leaning to, in May, we will find out if 100% bonus depreciation is coming back, and it will go retroactive to the beginning of the year, possibly to 2024, but most likely what I'm hearing is deals bought in 2025 will be 100% bonus depreciation. Each day that goes by seems like it's more likely that will happen. If that occurs, essentially there will be so much capital flooding into multifamily that it would be pretty unbelievable because people have been waiting for that, and they would be at a benefit to have invested in this. We would take the 100%. We're doing the cost seg no matter what, cost segregation study, where you basically pull out like all the components of the building, if you will, so that it can go grab an accelerated portion of depreciation correctly legally. And we take a large percentage of that and give it to the investors to have an advantage for that year. If 100% of that is able to be taken this year from the new tax law that may come out in May, it will be high fives.
Well, to me, it's not if, it's when. So it's just a time when they decide to do it, because the person in charge does own a lot of real estate too. So, you know.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Can I point out one thing here, Chris?
Yeah, go ahead. You can keep it up here.
For those on the call that invested with us before me, whatever the situation, just want you guys to know that Sharpline does not underwrite dependent on a refinance. And that is what is biting a lot of operators in the butt right now. And because of that, and on top of them being terrible operators, they're being foreclosed on. So just want to make that point, that what these numbers reflect is that 7-year term debt, awesome debt that Chris alluded to earlier.
There is the very high potential of refi in here, because I believe that these properties will appreciate. We would grab a refi if it's the rates are there. We would do it probably at about year 2 or 3. We've had successful refis in the last year, even with the rates as they are. We got a 5.8 rate in September of last year. We just did one on another 80 unit that was really successful. We have 2 that are going on right now that are about to really be amazing. One of which is going to knock the socks off of people. We increased so much equity, and we'll do it.
On our 64 unit Main Street, we refied, returned 70% of capital on that one. You know, so if the deal does really well, the refi could be really nice.
And that one that you just mentioned is actually up for sale for strategic reasons, held for 4 years. Offers are coming in, and it's gonna be a high five. 4-year annualized return is a
That
great
one on the rents. That one, what do we get? Like 600 rents to 1,200 or so? What were they when we went in there?
On that particular property, it was all 3 beds. It was a bit far out there. It was about 50 minutes away from the center of Kansas City, but it was all 3 beds, and we bought it with, I think, 795 rents, and they are now like 1,300s.
1,300, yeah. So, yep.
Go ahead, Lauren. Oh, here we go. This is great. Like, this will actually is this on 50,000? So if you could double these, if you want to double these in your mind for a $100,000 investment, the math might be easier to conceptualize. In year 3, it's looking like a 50 to 60% capital event is potential. And then you see year 7, this is where you get your essentially double your money, if you will, right there for your total return on investment. And one of the things that I can say about this particular property is the fact that it's in a triangle with the Spring Hill deal gives us so much control operationally. The self-management that Darren alluded to before is really important to us. That was about 3 years ago. We started to self-manage, and we self-manage all of our 1,500 units now. And I got to tell you, our team is just getting better and better and better. It lowers the cost of the resources needed. And even beyond that, when things arise in real estate, we have the team that can do rehab at prices that you cannot compete with. We had a situation about 6 months ago in Kansas City with about 4 units that had some flood damage. And the quotes we were getting from outside sources were 100, like basically 100 grand. And we ended up doing it for basically like 45,000. We saved 60 grand. It was crazy. We did it with our team. We had to do it slowly because we didn't have like a dedicated team that could do nothing but those units, but it just took about maybe 3 weeks longer than if we had hired out an outside source, but we got it done at a 60% savings. And I've seen that across the board with certain, like, I mean, Christine, I'm sure you've seen in Springfield, I saw the decks that you did. Like, you know how much decks can be if you get it wrong by hiring outside. And we have a 108 unit that we're doing decks. We saved basically 50%. We have a 144 unit where we're doing the decks. We're saving over 50%. I mean, you know how much that stuff costs.
So you know, we teach, you know, to our students and stuff. The way to make money in multifamily is you got to save money. You have to make connections in your market, and you have to save money on HVACs, on ACs, on the roof, on what Chris said, on the flood units. You have to make these connections. And if you're using third party, the third party is gonna use their vendors, and then on top of it, the third party adds 10%. So you're not only paying for their vendors and their prices, they're going to mark it up also. So when we're self-managing, there's no markup, first of all, and we get to use who we want. And we sometimes, if we're too busy, we'll use outside vendors at a good price. But when we could do it in-house, that's when we really save.
I mean, you're getting the creativity, the flexibility. I think another cool example is on our 144 unit. There's 6 buildings, 8 actually, and they have flat roofs on the top, and the HVACs are on top. And we do have an HVAC guy on our team, and he saves us a ton of money. The issue is, he has to get up to the top of the roof every time. And if you need it for an emergency, you do have to hire outside to get it there quick. And then you're hiring an outside group to get a boom up there. And it's like that can cost you 300, 500 just for a clip because they got to rent it out. What we did is we did an analysis of all the HVACs on the top of the roof and found that it looks like at least one is going to fail in a certain amount of time. So we bought in bulk and put up at least one new unit up there ready to go and rented the boom once and put them up there so that our guy can go up there just once. And when they fails, you don't have to call another company. We basically will save 60 grand.
That's genius.
So it's just things like that when you're in the trenches that you get better at it. And we started the self-management company so that, you know, we are incentivized to make you guys money. So like we want to basically create a scenario where we control all the aspects so we can make as much of a return as possible for you so that we win also. And it's a shared win.
I just want to reiterate to everyone on the call how great this team is at operations. And it is so ironic that it just so happens that tomorrow I'm presenting failures of multifamily post-COVID to a different group. And the two reasons are financial and operational. And a lot of this stuff is just like tracking with everything that Chris is. This was not planned, I swear. But it's so funny that this is occurring tomorrow, literally at 11 a.m. So, yeah, the top-notch team, top to bottom.
Yeah, I
Integrity,
mean,
high level.
in 17 deals, we only had one on the finance side. We only had one where we used floating rate debt for a bridge. That's kind of the story. If you've heard about it, some deals not going so great. They got caught by that. We had one, the only one out of 17, and because of Sharpline's self-management, operational prowess, and ability to get different types of debt, we were able to refinance out of that and then get to a place where we got it to 97% occupied and have a 5.6 loan on it. And it was a huge refi and turned what was a project that, needed some help into a success. And I think that, Darren, when you talk about that, about like you're right. If you have bad operations and then have bad financing and debt options, it's a recipe for not great things. But actually what the recipe for is for us to get deals.
True. And that's happening. You
I-
touched on this, but I want to reiterate for the people on the call is that there was no broker involved in this deal because a previous transaction had gone so well from a seller earlier for another property that Sharpline bought. I get it. The guy called. He's like, I don't want to go with the broker. I don't want all those people around my property just going through the hubbub and whatnot. Plus, there is a, if you've been in this business any length of time, there is a lot to be said for the transaction and the relationship between a buyer and seller. That if that's strong, it can make it go the right way for both parties. So I love that part of the story as well.
Yeah, it's and it wasn't in the first transaction. It wasn't like it was just smooth sailing because everything was easy. There were certain things you had to butt heads on, and you just came to a meeting of the minds, and that allowed both sides to see that you were both dealing with professionals. And then, we did everything we said we were going to do. And then, yeah, the call came in about 1 month later. I open up to the floor. Happy to talk, answer questions, anything. You can ask me about ourselves, but please, anything. This is a small group. We got Lauren. You can, I guess, take off this so we can see people, and we can stop share so I can see everybody. Feel free to ask me anything.
What is the step down yield maintenance on a agency debt right now? What is it, like 3.2211 or something like that, or what are they doing?
So you can get different ones, and you can pay different penalties off of it. Basically, the lower the rate and the longer your fixed term, the more severe your prepayment penalty would be. If you did a 10-year, it could be 5544332211. I believe ours is a 54321 because we don't have any plans other than in year 3, which is calculated in to do a refi. We would only do that where the prepayment penalty of the 3% makes sense. Like, why do it if it didn't make sense?
Yeah.
Keep a good rate. Yield maintenance, with interest rates going down, if the yield maintenance, you get the best interest rate with yield maintenance. I think if we had gone yield maintenance in this, it probably would have been 5.65. We would have been cheering, yippee, 5.65. But with interest rates going down, if that interest rate went down below where it is today by a certain amount, the prepayment penalty would be extreme if when we tried to sell. We actually have a policy inside of Sharpline that we don't do anything beyond a 2-year yield maintenance because we actually don't like yield maintenance at all, really, because we actually had a loan that had it. We bought something in Atlanta, it was in 2018, right at the end, and it was right there where it was hitting 5%, and we locked it in at 4.9 yield maintenance. Thought we were geniuses, and then 2 years later, rates were down at 2, and literally we had a $4 million prepay on like a $10 million loan or something. It was absolutely crazy. We ended up selling the deal and did well, but the only way that it could be sold was on assumption.
Yeah. If
So
anybody's
we
got
just feel
questions, about
we
returns,
feel like we don't want to limit. I'd sacrifice the rate to have the options.
so here's something actually for new people, because sometimes people go, oh, I have a lot of friends who like really believe in stocks, like my buddy Martin, and he's finally invested in not syndic. He's in one syndication with me, but mostly just partner deals. I get my buddy Martin into like 5-person deals, So a lot of people like love, I invest in crypto. I like crypto. I treat it like a casino to me. But for the new people who look at multifamily, sometimes are like, oh, I'm not understanding the returns, or I do a lot better with stocks. Um, to make people understand, I own 49, actually now I own 50 multifamily deals. I own 22 syndications and 28 generational wealth deals. That's how much I believe in the space. My stock portfolio is 5%. I don't own any more stocks. I stopped buying stocks in the year 2003, I think, right after that crash of 2001, whatever. When the Nasdaq, when I remember, it was Nasdaq was at 5,000 and it dropped to like 2 or 3, whatever it was. I remember when Nasdaq hit 5. Now I don't know what it is, but I do a little crypto. But my 20-year-old daughter right now, she has 2 LP positions and 2 syndications, and she has one deal. She's in she's in the 43 unit. I have her in under me. Yeah. Like 25,000. So I want my 20-year-old to be in 10 passive investments by 30 years old. I want her to do, she's working 2 jobs and she's in college. She babysits and she does theater jobs. She's actually getting leads in professional theaters down in Orlando over Disney actors, and that's pretty cool. And she's putting in, she gives me 10,000 and then I add 15,000 to her 10,000 and I put 25,000, and she's 2 LP positions and 1 general partner position in one of these small deals that I have. That's how much I believe in multifamily. And my kids are starting, you know, believing for the tax benefits, for the, it's not a get rich quick, it's a get wealthy slow. It's you invest in a few and then in year 4 you refi, sell, whatever. It's like a law of compounding. And what I say is sometimes like, oh, I really don't like multifamily. What I tell people who are new to this, I tell them it's the best asset class. So yes, buy your gold, do your bonds, do your stocks, do your crypto, but like you should have at least 1 or 2 multifamily investments, because if it is the best asset class, you know, if it's done right, when it's done right. I had a 4 family when I was 30 years old. I now own 50 deals. And when in 2020, I sold my restaurant and went full-time multifamily. You know, so the opportunity is there. And the best way to start is to start passively, and you get 1 or 2 under your belt. And then, you know, then once you're doing it and you see the newsletters and the webinars and 2 or 3 years goes by, if you really like it, you learn, meet the sponsors even more and say, hey, you're doing new builds, are you doing others? Because we're going to be doing new builds. We're going to be doing other stuff too. So if you invest in a deal and then you get to know the sponsors, there's more opportunities coming. Like that 32 unit we just closed in 2 years, 3 years, we're going to probably build 30 to 60 units, right? We have a piece of land there. So whoever invests in that deal is going to be able to be part of something special. The new builds are really something special with it. In 14 to 16 months, that's a refi of your money out once the project is completed. You know, so it's a really great space. We try not to throw too much high level stuff at you guys because we don't want to overwhelm you. When somebody's investing, you want them to kind of understand it, that it's a great investment. I believe in it so much. My kids are going to invest as much as they can in this space with me, and with other people.
We only do multifamily. That's we actually don't currently have any mixed use at all, so it's all multifamily. Anybody else? Erica or Christina? Vinicia? Anybody? Feel free. Or Tom, if you want to ask more questions, it's okay.
Tom's always got good questions.
Oh, cool. Bring it.
Kansas City's a great market. What are you guys have been there for a while? Are you seeing
Yes.
real positive indications there in Kansas City lately?
Yeah, let me give you one that's a bit anecdotal. It's kind of a funny one, but I've seen it. The Californians are coming.
Wow.
When
They're skipping past Idaho now, huh? Idaho,
Yeah,
they've
when the
all filled up Idaho. Now they're coming more.
when you get
Overcharged.
outbid by the Californians, it's like, oh no. But yes, from an appreciation perspective, yes, I see more capital flow in from the various places. You're starting to see Kansas City on a lot more of the broker, even the larger broker markets to watch, like stable market that has cash flow and appreciation. So it's getting attention. That was our thesis of why we like multifamily in Kansas City. We've been in other markets for like many different years. We went in Atlanta very early and then we left at the right time, thankfully. I think we left a year or 2 early, but you know, I'm not going to cry about that. It's better to leave a year early than a year late, I'll tell you that, because Atlanta's getting hurt right now. And basically 3 years ago, so that means 4 years ago, I'm usually a year before I get into a market. So that was 4 years ago. I was like, dang it, I missed this market by 1 year. And I was like, I'm never letting this happen again. So we went nutball there and went like, we're finding deals. And we decided to self-manage there after going through years of the third-party management. We've had success with third-party management. It's just cricket bats to the face every day. And I make a joke that like self-management is still cricket bats, but at least it's my cricket bat.
Yeah, so you hit yourself. So Tom, the Darren's in Tennessee. I own a 52 unit in Tennessee. I love the Tennessee Knoxville market. I in 2012 to 19, I bought 1,800 units with my brother to Tennessee, just us, no syndication. Me and my brother and Jake, 4 partners. In 2012, I bought a 25 unit, small 25 unit, 500,000. It's worth 2.6 million right now, 5x. I call KC. KC is Tennessee 2. KC is Tennessee 2.0.
2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
that's
my two markets, Tom. I'm not in Dallas, Texas, which is a super appreciative market. My two markets that I love is Tennessee, Knoxville, and Nashville. I own two mobile home parks in Nashville. I went to Kansas. Chris was going there. I told my brother, I said, Chris, when he started to, I said, we are buying here. And we bought in 2020 before they put the $1.5 billion airport in because we knew they were putting it in. They put that in to attract CFOs and CEOs. The Main Street, the Plaza area, I grew up in Westchester, White Plains, and that's considered high end. Westchester, Harrison, Rye, Scarsdale. I always was telling Ramo. Me and Ramo went to go see where we're in the Plaza area in KC. All the buildings and restaurants, they have the Spanish tiles, and it's a Midwest humble town. The Plaza area blows away White Plains, Westchester, blows it away. And if they make a big deal, White Plains is high end and Harrison's high end. You go see this Plaza area, it is gorgeous. All the same color, nice, all beautiful restaurants, and you could tell an area is getting good. When I'm a restaurant guy, I own the restaurant. When really good restaurants start coming in and restaurateurs come in, restaurants go where the money is, and they go where growth is going to be. So when you guys go visit places, like say you go to Columbus, Ohio, it's like a smaller market. When in Columbus, a lot of restaurants came from Cleveland. A restaurateur in Cleveland, a famous guy, sold 7 restaurants in Cleveland, and he moved them all to Columbus. So we don't just look at population growth and stuff like that. I look at metrics like that granular also. So you go to a market and you walk around the plaza areas and everything, you see where the money's moving. Like what's coming here, what restaurants, what stores, what Panasonic plant that they put, the $4 billion Panasonic plant that's bringing how many jobs? 4,000 jobs?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the job and industry growth there is very broad, although it's driven by a couple of bigger ones, aviation and another one. But we're in a 68 unit down there in Lawrence. We're actually selling that property now for various reasons. But my point of saying that is that I can't wait to be in this market because it's happening. To Marco's point, if for our perspective, Tom, it is the Knoxville 2.0, and it's even a bigger metro than Knoxville, really. So
I think Knoxville
I'm excited.
appreciated like crazy. I think it's sexier than not.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it absolutely is. 100%. 100%.
But Knoxville's a great place. I appreciate it. But I told Chris today, I'm gonna buy. I try and go once every 6 weeks because I own 25 deals now out there. I want to buy a condo out there. I love it out there. The Plaza area is beautiful, man. The Ocean Prime went there. By the way, Ocean Prime from New York City, the steakhouse. They have one, I think, in Miami. Ocean Prime is a great steakhouse. They opened one up right in the Plaza area. Ocean Prime will only go where there's money. It's like Whole Foods. When they start opening up Whole Foods, Whole Foods is only going to go in a high end area where the income support it. So I mean, I'm gonna buy a condo out there. I love it out there. If you told me 8 years ago, I'd be like, KC, what the hell's KC? It was not on the map. Like Chris said, right now, people from Texas investors, California, it's attracting big money investors now, and we like that because the deals we have, they're going to start paying higher, and it's gonna push our deals that we currently have up, which is good.
I'm actually glad that Kansas City lost this year in the Super Bowl because if it didn't, it would be worse. There would be money coming in. It would be burnt. Like now we have a chance to buy more.
That's funny, and that's true. True. I just want to bring, I know everyone has seen the executive summary if you've not, but I just want to throw it out there to make sure you understand that there are 2 different types of shares, B and C, and what those mean. So I'm just throwing that out there. We can revisit and talk about it offline if you need to.
I can just give you the overarching C class shares are for the higher investment amount, and you get better splits. Thus, the return profile is increased.
Christina owns with me a 43 unit in Springfield. She could tell you how much she loves the market, in the area.
Oh, totally. And to expand on the Panasonic plant, those 4,000 jobs are just the beginning because the infrastructure beyond that and economic development needed to support those 4,000 new employees brings more jobs and more infrastructure development.
Here's another thing.
That's only 20 minutes from this property.
Yeah, it's in the path of progress for that. Like 4,000 jobs that literally just showed up now. This isn't like, oh, the plant is going to open in a year and then it doesn't for a while. Like the plant is open, the jobs are coming, they're getting hired. There's dudes in hard hats walking around all over the place from all over the country. And there's going to be the ancillary services that start getting pushed out, like the 2x jobs that show up from that kind of stuff. And this is the path of progress. I think I'm mirrored wrong, but it's southwest path of progress, Kansas side, and we're right there.
Yeah. So Tom, here's one last thing. They got the World Cup too, which is so when you start seeing like why Kansas City got the World Cup, they also the NFL draft. The NFL signed the contract with KC to do the NFL draft there. That's why they pushed them to get the airport done. Do you know how much money the NFL paid Kansas City to do the draft there? You know, I mean, so they're starting to get eyes on it. That's what I like. I like to see when places start to get eyes on it and there's growth, you know, and people really like to live there.
So Chris, where this building, where these two properties are, I know you had really good success with a building nearby or a property
Yes.
nearby. Do you feel like this specific area in Kansas City is doing really well? Like the neighborhood is getting nicer or
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, like the path of progress is southwest, and where Spring Hill is 15 minutes north. It has a very high average household income of 115,000. This area 15 minutes south has slightly less, but remember, we're buying it for $20,000 less per unit with almost better rents walking in. So we're getting like a better deal
Mhm.
on this one because it's 15 minutes south, but we will still get the same rents, and the path of progress tide will rise this area equally. So I'm really confident that it has the same profile of the Spring Hill area.
Your cost basis is phenomenal. For those of you that have invested with us before, man, 92.5 a door, crap. We were talking about that in 20 and 21. I mean, this is it's sick.
I mean, the walk-in average at 97% occupied at 980, 92 at 92 and a half with upside 2 and 3 beds, and the vintage like basically averaging 2,000. I mean, it feels like unheard of stuff, but it is like taking advantage of the market.
And as we're watching the market, 23, 24 was really rough. 25, I know what he's doing. We study economies and we study what's going on. This is all done on purpose. We're working things where like 20, we know what's going to happen in 26, 27, 28. So this is a good time right now to get your discounts and then watch the market swing in the future.
Good evening.
Federico, what's up, buddy?
Hi, Margo. Yeah, what's the break-even occupancy?
Oh, I have my performer. I can look that up. I don't have that at the ready, but I can tell you. Give me a second. Given that it's 65 LTV, let's see. Basically an average, because as your rents increase, the break-even occupancy goes down. So basically, as an average across, at 70% occupied, we're break even and pay the debt. It's pretty crazy good.
Yeah, that's usually standard.
Good question.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, the rate's great. 65 LTV is safe. It feels like the Spring Hill deal that now I've seen it perform also, and it's just a great, safe cash flowing deal with a lot of upside.
All right. We don't want to keep anybody if there's, no more questions, but I'm going to, Erica, Christina, Venetia, I'm going to make a recording of this right now. Cause I know not everybody was able to make tonight. And if anybody like Venetia and Erica, if anybody's questions, I'm available. So is Chris, so, don't, and it's funny because like Erica, one of your investors might ask you a question and you're like, oh my God, like, I have been doing this since I'm 23 years old. And what I always tell people is like, you guys might ask me a question. I'm like, I don't have all the answers, but I do have Chris as my partner. So what I tell people sometimes, like, you don't have to be nervous about something. Like I tell my investors sometimes, like, hold on, let me ask Chris, because I really don't want to give you the wrong answer. I know the answer on this one, but I'm actually not positive. Let me check with Chris and I'll get you the answer. So if there's questions, Christina, or even Lauren, she might not know,
And-
she might not be sure on something. She's like, let me double check with Chris because we don't want to give the wrong info.
Yeah,
So
It's all-
anyone on here has questions, I think a number of people are connected to Darren.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
to go through
And that's the
him,
strength of the team, and that's the transparency and integrity factor. I know a handful of people dropped off, but yeah, Marco, when you send, will you text us however many you're going to send the recording to, so I can send it to some of the people that weren't able to jump on?
yeah, I'm gonna make
Yeah.
a YouTube link right now. It takes like an hour to load up, and then I just put it on YouTube, and I'll text you guys the link so you guys could just
Cool.
you could text.
Appreciate you. I really appreciate everyone that hopped on as well. Some of
Yeah,
them have already
thank you.
left, but appreciate
Good
you.
questions.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Good call.
Thank you.
I don't want to get off. I love seeing everybody.
I know, man. I know.
Guys, I'm just gonna
Well,
go get,
and you
I'll go
know,
get a glass of wine. Can we stay on until like 10?
Tom's like, I'm not
Something
getting
else.
off.
Good
Bye,
night.
guys. Good night.
Okay, see
Bye,
ya.
everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Take
I already
care.
had my bourbon. Y'all have a good night.
Take
Night.
care.